Kari Garcia, who will be stepping up in a few minutes to lead this program. I mean, they came to us and said, we want to do something, and we went, okay, you know. And my God, when they throw a party. I am really impressed. Before I sit down, I wanted to, where's Brian? Brian, I want to give a great shout out to Brian Green, who's the head of WJCC. He's in the front row here, and WJC is an incredible community benefit organization. They really, really are. Whenever we've needed something, they've stepped up, and there aren't that many groups like that in the city of Los Angeles. I really want to commend Brian and WJCC. Thanks, Harry. I want to make a pitch for everybody to join the Miracle Mile Residential Association. If you could, if you email, I certainly will take your call, but we are a membership organization. We're a volunteer group, and it really is helpful when people do sign up, pay the big $25 fee, and join the group. We won't turn you down if you don't join, but please join. We have expenses, and they come through the dues that are paid. So anyway, I'm going to turn this over to Kari. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Kari and let her start the meeting, and then she'll introduce all of the dignitaries who are here and get the show on the road.
Good evening. Before I get started, I would first like Brian Green to come up and have a word.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you both, and thank you for inviting me to just share a few words about the Jewish Community Center. Let me say, first of all, Jim, that was such a nice introduction. Jim O'Sullivan has been the best friend of the Jewish Community Center for a long, long time, and we've always called on him whenever we needed help with anything, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I'm just so happy to host this event here for our neighborhood. The Jewish Community Center has been here for 60 plus years, part of the neighborhood. We're here for the neighborhood to do all kinds of things, our swimming, our preschool. How many of you had children, nieces, nephews, grandchildren that were part of our preschool program? Yes, I thought so. So we're part of your neighborhood. I like to think we're sort of at the center of your neighborhood, and we appreciate your support in so many ways. How many of you are part of our aquatics programs in some way, children or adults? Or yes, great. And I see a lot of faces that I know from our exercise programs, our morning boot camp, our what have we got now? Yoga starting. We've got what's it called? We've got folk dancing classes. We've got water aerobics classes in the morning. There's all kinds of things going on here, and I hope you'll take advantage of the various programs we have here. Just very quickly, because I know you have a long agenda, I want to announce that we have an event coming up on Sunday, December 10th. Got lots of postcards to pass out, so you'll know about it. It's our annual 5K run and walk. We held it last December for the first time, and now it's the second time, so we'll call it the annual 5K run and walk. It's an event that is a gathering for the entire community. People really enjoyed it last year. We had over 400 people involved last year in our first year. We hope it'll grow this year. And what I enjoyed most last year was that people from the neighborhood came out and participated. It was something that everyone could be in. It's a 5K run and walk. You don't have to run it. You can walk it. And there's a short run just for children as well, in addition to that. And there's a kids zone, kids fair going on here as well. We hope that you'll take a look at it and sign up to run, to walk, sign up your children. Or if none of those things interest you, sign up to be a volunteer. We need lots of volunteers to make this a big community event. On that Sunday morning, Sunday, December 10th, we will be closing one side of San Vicente Boulevard. So from Fairfax to La Brea. So for a couple of hours, it will be an inconvenience, but it's not hard to get out the other way onto Olympic on a Sunday morning. So from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., that's when the run will take place. We appreciate your support, and I hope that we can count on your participation and make it a great event for the whole community. Thank you very much, and thank you for coming here. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. I hope that you all attend. I think that we should all join in. Can you all hear me? I personally signed up for the 5K. Can you hear me? No. I'll talk a little louder.
Can we check?
And I think we should go teams according to our block. So I already started Team Dunsmuir, and it's not a competition, but I think we're going to win. So thank you, Brian. So it was the good news before the not so nice news. Thank you all for coming this evening. My name is Kari Garcia, and along with Kelly Perkins and MMRA, we are here to discuss the recent crime in your neighborhood and ours. I have been in Miracle Mile resident with my husband and 4 children since 1992. I love Miracle Mile, and I want it to be safe the same way you do, and that is why we are here tonight, because what's happening is not okay. So this evening I'm going to talk to you first. I have a presentation. I promise it's not going to be, Crime 101. I will quickly go through some of the statistics, and we have a solution in mind, and I want to get you on board. You will also hear from Councilmember Blue's office. We have Catherine Landers here this evening. We also have from Councilman Weston's office, Liz Carlin. We also have our Senior Lead Officer Rodriguez, who's also, because we have a different boundary, I'll explain that in a second, but also Officer Perry Jones is on vacation. How dare him? But thank you, Officer Rodriguez, for coming. So I'm standing already because I am a victim of crime multiple times over in Miracle Mile. We've been burglarized twice, once during fumigation, and more recently, actually back in 2004, and then more recently, you probably heard about the prowler on the property we had the power, and that was my home with my 15-year-old home and my husband and myself. So, and I actually was telling someone earlier, I thought, we got going on this, Kelly's super motivated to organize, and I said, let's do it. She has young children, raising a family, and I said, what if, this was just that one thing, or no, it's not. It is literally tonight on my phone, I'm like, you're not again, keeping your view. So this is real, and this is happening, and you need to be informed, and you need to know what you can do. I'm standing, who else has been a victim of a crime? Stand up, please, if you have. You can raise your hand, or you can stand up. Good question, stretch your legs. That's a lot of people. All right, thank you very much for standing. Have a seat. And that's probably why you're here tonight. And if you aren't standing, you've heard of someone, or it was your neighbor. That's not good. That's not okay by me, and I'm sure by you as well. So we need to come up with a solution, and I think we have one for you. But if you came here tonight because you thought, I'm going to come and hear the tips, and I'm going to put that lock on that back window, and I'm going to start with the alarm system tomorrow, and I am going to get that noisy dog, and then you thought you were all great, you want to get your list and head out, that's okay. We're not here for that tonight. It's not about securing just your property. It's a lot more than that. So if you want to be part of the solution, and you want to walk down Miracle Mile, and you don't want to think about, oh my God, my house is going to get burglarized right now. You don't want to be on vacation in Catalina and hear that your alarm went off. If that's the case, then we're here for a solution. So let me quickly go through, and I promise I won't bore you, but hopefully I don't mess this up either. Can you all hear me now? So, you cannot hear me? Have we done the best we can?
It's up, Matt.
Can you hear me now? Do you want me to start over? I promise I will. So, my husband said sometimes I'm a little too controlling, and I think Officer Rodriguez will agree because he doesn't know about this up here, and I've taken liberty to get some statistics from CompStat, which is on the LAPD website. You have access to that as well. So, just to let you know, crime is occurring, and the CompStat is available to you, and it's something I suggest you take a look at. Wilshire Division is a very large area, so when you say, hey, they didn't come to my crime, there's a few reasons why they may not have come immediately. And I want you to think about the area they have and how few patrol cars they have to patrol this area. So in general, let's get to the facts. Between 2016 year-to-date, burglary is up 17% for the Wilshire area. Okay? And between 2015 and 17, property crime overall is up 11%. That's a lot, okay? And that was more than what I had heard, because numbers of 12% and 14% were crime run. And this is straight off your website. This is not my mishmash, which I'll show you in a minute. I do like to go to crime mapping. They do have reliable statistics, but as Officer Rodriguez will explain later, sometimes after being reported to crime mapping, and there's a few other websites, that the crimes get either escalated or degraded, probably never degraded, but turned lessened. So they can actually, it can be more than what you see here. But we don't need to split hairs. We're not here to do this. We're going to give you the gist. I went with a half-mile radius from the center of Miracle Mile, which is pretty close to my house, for the last 6 months. And what I found was we've had 1 assault, bear with me, but you're going to hear it, 2 brandishing a weapon, 17 assaults with a deadly weapon, 1 pickpocket, 10 shoplifting, 21 thefts, including plain, petty, grand, and from a person, 4 stolen bicycles, 3 attempted robberies, 10 robberies, 25 thefts from a vehicle, 1 attempted burglary, 26 burglaries from a vehicle, 2 grand theft autos, 27 stolen vehicles, 1 arson, 1 attempted burglary, 35 burglaries in 6 months with a half-mile radius. Do you want me to go further? If I went 1 mile out, you have 7 attempted robberies, 60 robberies, 14 attempted burglaries, and 120 burglaries. I am talking from roughly Pan Pacific down to Venice. Wow. That is 1 mile, which I thought was more than that, because I thought I was jogging a lot further, but I'm not. So, that's a lot in 6 months, you guys, okay? Let's also remember, and I'll raise my hand here too, I've had bicycles stolen out of Pan Pacific Park, and I never reported it. So think about how many times you didn't report your crime, and how many of your neighbors were busy, and they had to go to work and watch the kids and take care of their parents. And they said, forget it. A little bit of apathy there, they did not report it. So think about the numbers then. How are these crimes happening? So I've had a lot of people say, well, you had an alarm, well, you had a this, you had a that. They're happening, and it's all random. So don't think any one thing you are doing or not doing is going to be it. You need to do layers of it, because they come all hours of the day and night. I think it's 28% come in the afternoon after 3 o'clock or something. Some are sophisticated, some are not. Some come when you're home, some don't. Some come when you're fumigating, and they don't mind the biking because they need your kid's Xbox for their meth habit, okay? There are cases when they come when doors are locked, alarms are on, not on. Plain view. There was a case on Burnside the other night, and it was right next to a condo. The home is completely lit up. There was an alarm system, a surveillance camera. They're connected to ADT. LAPD was called. The guys were in there at 8:20 2 nights ago on 1000 Club of Burnside. Okay? They love to do the knock-knock thing, which may have happened the other night as well. They will knock to see if you're home, and you're annoyed, like, I'm cooking dinner. No, I don't want to buy or whatever. Oh, they're not going to go to your home. It's your home, so they go to the next home. All right? So always answer your door. Don't open the door, but just say we're not interested through the door. So why is crime on the rise in our neighborhood? Well, and I won't bore you here. I found this very interesting and slightly concerning, but I'm going to power through it. So it's Assembly Bill 109, which basically transferred 60,000 felony parole violators a year from state prison to county control. 2014, the passing of Proposition 47, a law that reduced drug possession and property crimes from felonies to misdemeanors. Proposition 57, this and other sentencing initiatives are all aiming to help the state with its overcrowded population. They want to get the inmates out, so they reduce their sentencing. Okay, where do you think they're spilling out? I know they were on Dunsmuir. I don't know about your place, but they're all over. And there's some debate. Some people say that's not true, but it's true. And crime is up, I think, 50%. Somebody said some is 70, some is 40%. Current projections show upwards of 1,500 inmates could be eligible for early release by 2021. Well, when they come to Miracle Mile, they will not be welcome. Ineffective parole probation system, rising homeless population. Let's not forget drug use, rise of drug use and addiction, understaffed police force with too few patrol units on our streets. Crimes are not reported. Lack of reporting of suspicious behavior, not protecting our property adequately. Lack of organized neighborhood communication, collaboration, and involvement towards the common goal of crime reduction. And that is where, if you thought tonight you could learn about a special Ring doorbell or an alarm system and you'd be safe, you're very wrong. And I need you to spread the word to your neighbors. How about the fact that we are going to have increased development along the La Brea corridor? We are going to have development from Lassens all the way down to the 10 freeway. Target's coming, Apartment buildings are coming. What happens then? You got your beautiful Miracle Mile area over here, nicely protected, or not. Underground purple metro line, increased visitation from thriving businesses, museums, and stores. How about a disaster? Then how's the crime going to be? Do you want to wait until the laws change and less criminals are released? Do you want to wait until LAPD funding to hire more officers or give Officer Rodriguez a raise? Do you want to wait for that? How many more homes of ours are going to be broken into so that we can all go on the Nextdoor app and complain or have suggestions or communicate? It's not enough, but how many more times is that going to happen before all of us take responsibility and find out what's broken and how to fix it? So, MMRA's safety committee goals are to address the current rise of property crime with a neighborhood watch, and not just putting a sign up and feeling safe. It's a lot more than that. We have a plan called you, your neighbor, your block, your neighborhood. There's 3 basic components, and once we do the basics, we can elaborate from there. But we need to be aware of the fact that we're starting from ground zero, scratch. We have nothing in place. There are no block captains. Well, now there's 13 of us, and there's probably a few more of you hiding out there. And there probably will be at least half of you signing up tonight to be a block captain. We want to, you need to secure your property. You need to do multiple things. Don't think that because you have a dog, you're safe. I cannot say that enough tonight. I want you to think about multiple layers of protection. Block organization and communication. I'll explain how this works. You need to have a block captain so that safety committee, Kelly and I, can get the information to you via email, and you can alert your block. You need to know who your neighbors are. Your neighbors need to know who everyone is on the block, okay? And then what happens is when that's all set up, and you have effective communication, you can warn each other, you can give a heads up. I called somebody on Burnside last night, who I've known for 25 years, and I said, hey, did you know there was a burglary on your street today, or yesterday? And they did not know that. So we need to enhance the communication, not to sit scared. I don't need one more statistic. I don't need to know how many times this is happening, but I think we need to communicate. And when we do that, and when we report suspicious activity, it works very, very well. And we need to get private patrol. We are not omitting LAPD. We are not bypassing the fact that our legislations and our laws needs to change. But we are going to find out how to make this happen and how to make it work. And we have looked at other neighborhoods where this is successful, and we know the recipe. We just need you to get on board and follow it with us. Complete the property. As far as security and property, complete the property assessment provided. If we ran out of sheets, because I was told, I don't know, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 times that nobody would show up tonight. So thank you for coming. So I was going to do a little thing on apathy, but I think my husband told me not to do that either. So homes with layers of protection, homes with alarm systems are 3 times less likely to have a burglary. It's the basics and beyond. I don't want to go into detail tonight, but we are going to, that's why we wanted your emails. We want to guide you towards the website where we can get organized and hopefully shortly get a list of safety measures up there so you can really comb through your house and repeatedly make it an event, Sunday dinner, and then all of you walk around the house, pretend you're a burglar. How can I break into my home? Didn't know that that was possible, and change it. Okay? Block organizations I touched upon. It's not 46 I counted today. Not so good at math. It's 51 blocks. We already are up to 13 block captains. Communication flows and it goes back again so that when you have an issue, it can bubble up somewhere. Don't just go on Nextdoor and complain. Does anyone know what Nextdoor is or not know? It's a social media application that you can have on your phone. It can be on your iPad, it can be on your desktop, and you can be so aware of the crime going on in the neighborhood night and day. It is fantastic. I do suggest you all go there. Just delete, don't put comments about the arguments over the dog defecation and such. But it is very, very vital that you go and find out what's going on. And we do want to try to get a central place to post it. I understand that Facebook has something called Crime Busters, and it might be nice for us to be able to post just crimes that are happening, things that are occurring without all the additional commentary. So, and the central place will also be the MMRA website. This is, just so you know, the boundaries for MMRA do go from Fairfax all the way over to La Brea, and they go from Wilshire all the way down to San Vicente. And so that is the Miracle Mile boundary. And within there we have 2 senior lead officers, 2 council members, and it divides up like 50 million other ways. I wish it could just be, everything was just this, but maybe one day, right? And this is an email tree system, so for various reasons, whether it's crime, safety, a disaster, that there's a way that we can get the message out to you. How did you hear about it tonight? Raise your hand if you heard about it from the MMRA Facebook page. Raise your hand if you heard about it through Nextdoor. Raise your hand if you heard about it from Block Captain's email. Make sure I'm carrying it. All right, so that is how that works. Private patrol, and I'm going to only touch upon this because Seth is going to talk about this in a little bit. Seth Reed is going to introduce him. He's very helpful as well. Thank you, Seth. Get getting on board the safety committee, I promise. Crime rates are lower for areas with higher patrol. We need to utilize all services the patrol company offers. They offer a lot. The goal is to have at least 15 residents sign up for patrol per block. They have a fast response, and they can collaborate with LAPD. And this is very, very important. So I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but this is a critical component to your safety and our neighborhood changing. We need to change the culture. We need to make it so that it is not enticing to come and bust your door down and steal your property and scare you. And now they are brazen. They are coming when people are home. And that's not a scare. That is literally, you've all heard about it. On Brookside, there was on Keniston, there was an incident. I think on South Point View, both women were over 70. And there was a Los Feliz one. And then tonight, the family was home and had a dog. And the gentleman, I don't know the gentleman, the criminal kicked the dog as well. And the owner came home because he got the call from the wife. The guy was on the property, and the owner apprehended and got the guy down to the ground, and LAPD did show up. So how does patrol, how does communication, how does this all tie in? And I'll tell you, it's already working on Dunsmuir. Eyes on the street. You need to stop flying down the street to get home, to unload your groceries, and check your email, pass out from exhaustion. I'm sorry, I'm adding one more thing to your list, and I want you to slow to 10 miles per hour, 5 miles per hour down your street, and I want you to start clocking what's going on, and I want you to look around and notice things. And when you see something suspicious, you do not get involved, but you report. You report where you need to. You either call 911, or you are calling the non-emergent number, 1-877, ask LAPD. Right? It's not 800, it's 877. Right?
Yes.
And you're calling your patrol company if it's on your property, you're noticing something suspicious. Okay? You're communicating with neighbors, you're getting backup. Hey, something's going on, I'm concerned. We had this happen on Dunsmuir, it's very effective. LAPD was unable to respond that quickly. We called patrol. Patrol came within 10 minutes. Okay? A neighbor called and said, I'm out here, I'm watching. Another neighbor pulled up and called 911 for her. This was huge. It was communication, it was effective, and it works. This is what you need to do. The more we do this, the more we work together, it is harder to come into Miracle Mile and commit a crime. We need to change our ways. Let's see if I have a slide for you. I think I already did all that. There we go. Communicate. What you can do, we need 33, no, we need more now because I added some numbers. We need about 38 block captains to sign up tonight. And if you don't sign up, I will find you and I will ask you to sign up. And if not, I will call your friends and neighbors and talk about you. Just kidding, I won't do that part. I didn't say not to do that either. At any rate, spread the word. You know, not everyone's here. We have 1,700 residents in Miracle Mile. We need for you to start talking. I want you to talk about this crazy, jazzed up gal that is gung-ho on turning Miracle Mile around. There's two of us, so Kelly's just as jazzed up and crazy as me. We're going to turn this around. We need your support. We need you to talk to your neighbors, and we need block captains. And I think there's a few more out there that already actually are working as block captains that haven't told us, so we'll find out. We need you to protect your home, and we need you to stop, look, and report. And I think that might be my last slide. We are safe and strong. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to Councilman Rue's Representative Catherine Landers. Thank you so much for coming.
Speak right into the mic.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Catherine Landers. I'm the Senior Field Deputy for Councilmember David Rue from Council District 4. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you so much to all of you for caring about your community, taking time out of your lives to come here to learn more, and most importantly, to become involved. And thank you so much to Kari and to Kelly for starting this initiative. Public safety is one of Councilmember Rue's top priorities. He actually joined the Public Safety Committee in Council this year. He gave up his seat on transportation so that he could be on public safety because it's that important to him. He's been working in the budget to hire more civilian employees so that we can get more police back out on the street, and working to support LAPD any way we can. We are all in this together, and as much as Councilman Rue and our office will do whatever we can to support LAPD and to support your neighborhoods, but becoming involved is very important. Not just from a public safety aspect, but also for an emergency preparedness aspect. We all know this stuff between the wildfires up north, the hurricanes across the country. It's not a matter of if, but when the next big one's going to strike in Los Angeles. And being organized and knowing your neighbors and having those open lines of communication is going to better prepare us, not if, but when that time comes. But most importantly, as much as the uptick in crime and these home invasions that have been happening have been very scary, it's really encouraging to see so many people out here tonight. So I want to thank you all again for not just for coming tonight, but I hope that you will sign up to be a block captain, get to know your neighbors, and we can all work together. And I work out of our Hollywood District office. I'm happy to support you all any way I can. If you have a block captain meeting, I'd love to come, meet all your neighbors. Let us know what we can do to support you all. So with that, I will turn it back to Kari. Thank you.
And next, from Councilmember Weston's office, we have Liz Hardening.
Good evening. It's so good to see so many people taking the time to be here tonight. I really appreciate everyone being here. My name is Liz Carlin. I'm Council President Weston's field deputy for this area. It is an honor to represent him and to represent our area. Council President Weston, at all levels of government, is into effecting change. He routinely talks with the chief of police, but so do our chiefs of staff and our district director. And even on our deputy level, it's common that I might speak to Officer Rodriguez a couple times a week or exchange emails. All of this is to tell you that on every single level, when our office is contacted, when we're asked for something, when we see emails that say, this is a crime-related issue that's going on in our neighborhood, it doesn't have to come from Jim or Kari. It only needs to come from one neighbor to say this is a systematic problem. Can we get more LAPD resources deployed? Can we get extra patrol? I really want you to use your voice. You're here, and you're here to affect change. And you do that by just calling us and saying, I'd like to request extra patrol. And when you do that over and over, or when you email that over and over, we hear you. It only took, I think, 2 emails before I asked Pebble, can we get some more police out here? So we're hearing you, we want you to be organized, and we want to provide any resources that we can to the community and support. So we are your partners in this, and we want to make our streets safer, but we only do that by working together. So I would encourage you to challenge yourselves and challenge the frustration that you have in changing the situation and using your power to be effective as a group. Because when you speak as a group, you really do affect change, and our policymakers listen, and that's really what's going to be the most helpful for us as a group to hear from you. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, Kari, and thank you, Kelly, for putting this together. Thanks to the Miracle Mile for caring so much, and also for electing Paula to your board. I got to give props to Paula here. Paula's in CD10 over here. If you don't know Paula, you need to know Paula. Great lady. But as far as emergency preparedness goes, also, we are committed, and in Council District 10, we are all going through CERT training. Next week is our last CERT class, and our whole staff will now be CERT certified. So if you're not familiar with CERT, it's run through LA Fire Department. They do classes all around the city. You can get to their info through the fire department's website. I would encourage you to take the CERT classes. And there's also a city emergency preparedness department, and there are emergency preparedness events that are happening throughout the city. I wish it had been earlier in the month. We just had one at Robert Kennedy High School earlier this month, along with our partners at the Red Cross. So there's ample opportunities, and we want to help get connected with the Miracle Mile and resources that we have at the city. So all of this to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your time, and I'll be here to listen to the questions and see how we can advocate on your behalf. Thank you, Kari, and thank you, Kelly.
And if I didn't mention at the beginning, we are going to let Officer Rodriguez speak, and then after that, open it up to some questions. I know you all have a lot of questions, so we'll definitely get to that. And I did want to follow up real quick with the earthquake preparedness, disaster preparedness, because I would like to have 51 block captains by MMRA's community meeting, which might be January, February, maybe January, March. I would like to do that because I would like to get the neighborhood watch system locked and loaded. I would like to have block captains communication. I would like to see a reduction in crime. I want to meet all of us plus the other 1,500 residents to come back here in 6 months and start talking about map your neighborhood and preparing for a disaster. So I'm sorry, I'm your neighbor, but you got me, Kelly, and I'm on it, and we're collaborating with other wonderful people from other neighborhood organizations, and it's not just us, it's happening all over. Wilshire Vista got to this place 2 weeks ago, and they had their meeting. They're doing the same thing, so I'm not competitive, but I am, and we are going to get organized. With that said, thank you very much, Officer Rodriguez, for coming up and speaking.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Abel Rodriguez. I am not your senior lead officer. I'm covering for Perry Jones, who is your senior lead officer. I'm his neighboring senior lead. The area that I cover is actually from Venice to Wilshire, depending on what street you're on, what major street you're on. And then from Redondo to Crenshaw. So those are the areas that I'm responsible for. Obviously, Kari did a good job of presenting the stats for you guys. So that's not something I'm going to talk about. Obviously, she pointed it out already. She did have some questions for me that she wanted me to answer for you folks. So I printed it out, and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. And if you guys have further questions after that, feel free to raise your hand, and we'll discuss it. Everybody good with that? Yeah. Okay. First off, I want to let you know that I myself have been a victim of a crime more than once. So my car has been broken into, and they've stolen a package from my front porch while I had the rain. That was awesome. Because I got to see the guy do it right in front of me. So, there you go. But a little bit about that. The department's not in the business of promoting no specific company. Okay, we cannot go out there and support any specific company. Sorry. But we agree with the community. We think that when we see a product line, any type of surveillance camera that gives you a notification on your phone and alerts you, that's a great product. Anytime you have a private security company that's providing you additional security in high visibility, that's a great product. That's a great company to support as a community. Having said that, I think both items are a great idea. Why do I think the ring is a great idea? Number one, when we're talking about burglars, Kari kind of mentioned it briefly. They're going to knock. We have knock-knock burglaries. They're going to knock, and if they don't get a response, where do you guys think they're going to go to make entrance to your residence? Because they already knocked at your front door. Where do they go after that? To the back. Okay, so How does the ring come into play when you just put it in your front door? How does that help you to know someone's breaking into your house just because they're simply knocking at your front door? You need a visual in your backyard. You need something to let you know that now they've made their way to your rear. And now, what do you have? If someone's in your backyard, you have a trespass. That's a crime in itself. The reason why I say that is because a lot of folks don't understand that. Once they make it to your backyard, they have already crossed that threshold. They are trespassing. It is a crime. So you can generate that call. You can call dispatch and have the police response based on that action alone. Okay? So that's why it's important. If you're going to pick up a product to install in your home, don't just have a surveillance camera at your front door. That's not going to help you. That's just going to let you know someone's knocking at your front door. Okay? Think about it. Put something in the back that shows you that person now is to the rear and they're trying to get into your home. And you can articulate to the dispatch unit that you are seeing a crime in progress. Right? You can articulate that. And that's going to help us to respond. Almost lost my train of thought. Security companies, same thing. It's essentially, they're going to respond a lot faster than we are. For the most part, because you're paying them. It's their job to be there for you right away. Right? They're going to be in your block. You hired them to be within your vicinity. Right? The police department is covering a larger area of the city. So we are responding to multiple calls. Sometimes we have perimeters, and we have all our units assigned to that perimeter. So now we're asking for help from our neighboring divisions to come in to help with our call. And that can happen on any given day. Okay? So I want you guys to understand that. Now when you call the police, it's very important that you understand. There was a question that was brought up. I want to see where it's at in reference to that. What is the best way to ensure LAPD will respond quickly to a call when I feel I am in danger? Okay, if you are in danger, your life is being threatened, that is a 911 call. Okay, that's not debatable. Okay, if you see someone down on the street, unconscious, that is an emergency. Could be just a medical emergency, but you still dial 911. This was debated with me at another community meeting, and I didn't understand why we were debating that. It's a medical emergency, it's still 911. So whatever the case may be, if you see a crime in progress, that's a 911 call. Okay? Let the dispatcher transfer you if she feels that it's not an emergency. Okay, let her determine that. But based on what I've seen in my training and experience, when you have a crime in progress, that's a 911 call, regardless. Whether they're breaking into your house, breaking into your car, pointing a gun at you, robbing someone, whatever. That is a crime in progress, call 911. Okay, that's important to know that. You see a domestic violence occurring right in front of you, that's a 911 call. Everybody understand? Yes? Okay. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because it's very important for you folks to understand the difference between a landline and a cell phone. The way we receive calls, when you pick up your phone, your cell phone, that call goes specifically to CHP, not to LAPD. It goes to CHP. CHP dispatch will determine where the call is coming from, and they will transfer your call to the proper jurisdiction. That's why sometimes it takes so long to get that call through. It's not to say that when you call LAPD from your landline, you're still on hold for about 15 minutes, right? Sometimes that happens. But if you're calling 911, there's a faster response time when you use your landline versus your cell phone. That's what I'm trying to explain to you folks. There is a difference. Okay? Everybody understand that? Any questions on that? No? Yes?
You're using something like Magic Jack that runs through your internet as a landline. Which one's the backup?
That's a good question. I don't know.
What was the question?
The question was in reference to using your cable, right? Is it a cable?
Like it counts like a landline.
It's an IP, internet-based
Internet.
phone system.
Okay.
There are a lot of different brands. It's like probably your always probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, in the back.
Is anything being done to change that? Because I think the nature of 911 calls is that it's an emergency and the landline is not always going to be available. And in 2017, landlines are becoming more and more rare. So is that changing?
That was brought up in my last meeting, and that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I know that there's a new system in place that they're trying to work in where you can actually text rather than call to create a radio call. And that's in the progress right now. Anybody else? No? Okay.
That's an important fact.
Okay, so one of the other questions was, I guess Kari kind of touched on it a little bit, regarding some of the way the crimes stats are presented when you receive them and how we get them and what happens, where the difference is. I guess sometimes our numbers don't add up. And what I was explaining to Kari, and as I will explain to you, when that report gets documented and reported, it goes into our system as a specific title. Once it gets to the desk of that investigating officer, that detective, that report can be reclassified. Okay? And that means that some attempt burglaries can turn into vandalisms because there isn't sufficient evidence to show that that was an attempt burglary. So it will be reclassified as vandalism. That's just an example. Okay? So some of the reports tend to contradict the numbers. The numbers tend to contradict each other because once it gets through our process with our detectives, they get reclassified. Yes?
What is it called when someone comes onto your property and takes your license plate off of your car?
That's
How's that classified?
when they're taking your license plate, that's a stolen plate.
It's a stolen plate, so
Yes.
is it classified as, if you report it, if it's reported, is it going to?
It's a stolen plate, so it's a theft.
So it is a theft?
It's a theft.
From personal property or?
Yes, property. Right. So what happens is when you see some of these large numbers that the car was showing you, for example, robberies, a lot of the robberies, we have something called Estes robberies. What that means is that it initially started as a theft. The person walked into a store, a department store, your local Rite Aid, they went in to do a beer run. But they were confronted by the loss prevention officer. In the process of the detention, the suspect fought the detention officer, and now it becomes a robbery. So that's where some of those numbers come in really high. Okay? Yes, in the back.
Yeah, at what point, I think that sometimes we just don't have enough time to be on the phone calling 911 and calling Wilshire Division. So at what point are you legally in the right to use force?
To defend your life.
To defend your property, defend your property, defend your life, defend your car, defend your backyard, defend your dog, whatever you have to do. So, where are you legally in the right?
When somebody enters your residence, you can defend yourself. You have the right to defend yourself when they're inside your residence. Okay? That's a hot prowl, home invasion, because they're going to obviously confront you, right? It's going to turn into a physical altercation. So you have every right to defend yourself at that point. Okay, if somebody's breaking into your car, are you telling me you're going to go out there to confront them to defend yourself from your car being broken into?
When I go out there and I see the guy breaking into my car, and I go out there...
And you're trying to find out what your legal right is to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a property crime. So the lines are drawn there. You obviously want to try everything you can to protect your property, but you don't have the legal right to go out there and hurt the person, shoot them, stab them. I don't know. You can try to detain them if you like, but here's my thing. You make a better witness for us than a victim. Okay? I'm not going to stand here and promote violence. I'm not going to stand here and tell you folks to stand up and fight It's ridiculous. I can't do that. That's not okay. Because if you go out there and do that, that's a liability. Because now you're going to say, well, Officer Rodriguez told me to go out there and kick some butt. And in the process of it, I got my butt kicked. So that didn't work out for me. So I want to sue the police department for telling me to go out there and kick some butt. Because now I'm a victim of a crime. Right? Over a property crime. So recognize what type of crime it is and don't escalate that situation. Okay, we're trying to de-escalate. We're trying to prevent things from happening. And the best way to do that, we'll talk about that. Okay, there are ways. I've had in my basic car area, I had an incident where a suspect was breaking into a car. The owner and his son came out, started screaming for the neighbor to come out. The neighbor comes out with his gun. Now imagine now when we show up as a police department, who's the suspect? If I see a man with a gun, what am I trying to do?
Shoot it.
To stop the threat. Yes.
I love this conversation, but it is my understanding that if a perpetrator is retreating, you leave them the hell alone. You call the police, especially if they're leaving your house, certainly, and if they're leaving your property, then that's the end of it. Am I correct? You can call, but if I step out to go engage them, I put myself in danger.
Absolutely.
I put you in danger if you show up.
Right.
That is my
Ultimately, like I said, you make a better witness than you do a victim. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're going to end up escalating the crime to a much higher degree. Call us, report the incident, give us a description of the suspect, and allow us to do our job.
Also, very quickly, there's the cell phone issue, but I've hit the panic button for real and by mistake. And there's no time lag because it becomes a hostage situation. And you guys are there, so I don't know if you want to talk about that here, but I've been in the home where I've had to hit, on the alarm. On the
your alarm, yes, absolutely.
Hit
Yes.
that panic button, and you guys have come. I will
Code 3.
always do that.
That's a high priority call for us,
Okay.
yes. If you do have an alarm system, like this gentleman said in the front, you hit that panic alarm, we're going to respond code 3. Lights and sirens. That's a high priority call for us. Okay? There was somebody else that, yes ma'am.
What is the situation if someone tries, like, not to break into your home, but they're trying to get into your yard or they're in your yard? Are you allowed to defend yourself?
Okay, again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier. They are technically trespassing onto your property.
Even though it's not inside?
They're not inside your residence yet, so you don't, what you have is a trespass. Okay? So, do you want to go out there and confront them, or stay within your locked, secured home, dial 911, and start giving a description of the individual, and let them know that he's walking towards your back door now, and now he's got a pry tool, and now he's prying your window, and now it's escalating. So you're describing all those things. Yes?
The problem is, one time there was a very bad car accident on the corner of Dunsmuir and Ninth where I live. And the girl didn't have a cell phone, and I was trying to get her help because she was badly injured. And I tried to call 911 on my cell, and it was just an automated recording, and I waited, and I never got anybody. So, in the meantime, someone had a landline called an ambulance for her. But the point is, if someone's trying to break into my home from the yard area or anywhere else, and, I mean, I can't always wait for the police, how long it's going to take. I mean, if I do have a gun, and if I happen to use that 22 caliber, I mean, am I going to have to be legally held liable if...
You better make sure that suspect is inside your residence before you can shoot. You cannot shoot someone outside
in the yard, so you can't shoot someone.
You cannot shoot. That is someone who's just trespassing. If you have a nice big dog, release. And allow him to do his job. If he's trained to do his job. Okay? But no, you cannot step outside of your threshold of your home, your castle, to shoot someone.
Even in a common area?
If they are not inside your home,
But if you have a lock at the bottom of your door and someone comes through that lock inside of your hallway leading to any of the units, what rights?
They've made it into the structure.
Yes.
So,
They have, yes, they have made it into your structure. Okay? Yes.
That happened 2 nights ago. That happened on Saturday.
Did you shoot him? Oh, I was talking about. I'm just kidding. Cut.
No, that'll be gone.
Take 3.
It'll be on YouTube tomorrow.
Okay.
That'll be gone. That'll be
All right. So, one other topic. Let's see. Where were we? I'm sorry. Am I taking too much time, Bart?
No.
Okay. Okay. One of the questions also was related to, given the increase in hot prowls and home invasions, can you please elaborate on specific measures that residents can take to reduce chances of becoming victims of such crimes? We kind of mentioned that already, somewhat. For us, it's called hardening the target. And what we mean by that is that we want residents to get a security system, get better lighting systems, get a dog. If you're comfortable with guns, get trained, go to school.
Yeah.
Be prepared to use it. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking right now. You buy a gun, you better know how to use it. Okay? Do not put yourself in a situation where you have a burglar enter your home and now you are being confronted with him and you're doing this, debating whether or not you're going to pull that trigger. Because he's going to grab it from your hands and he's going to use it against you. And that's not a joke. That is your life. That is your family's life we're talking about. Be prepared to use it. Okay? We clear on that, folks?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to get a little funny here. No. That's very important. Okay? Hardening the target for us is very important. Getting the dog, getting an alarm system, Ring, whatever type of surveillance system, getting private security involved, it helps tremendously. We've seen crime go down when all these things are in place. Okay? It's not rocket science. It's simple. Okay? It's common sense. You have community members involved. You're proactive. Let me give you guys an example. I tell some of my community to create some kind of notification, some type of system where you guys are on the same email system or text system where you can all receive text messages at the same time when you see Bob's house getting a knock by some stranger that you've never seen on the block, who nobody knows, and now he's going to Bob's backyard and everybody's wondering, well, Bob's not home, he's on vacation. So we're texting each other, right? When you see the guy wandering down your street aimlessly, without a purpose or direction, and he's on his cell phone, and he has a backpack, or may not even have a backpack, but he's on his cell phone and he's doing one of these, looking around, wandering from house to house. That's not a door-to-door salesman. That could be a burglar, okay? Call us. Okay? But if you want to be productive, if you want to be proactive, if you want to engage, one of the suggestions I always give to some of my community members is, you guys remember Twilight Zone?
What?
Okay, the Twilight Zone?
Oh, good, yeah.
Okay, how awesome would it be if you text each other and you say, hey, on this 800 block of so-and-so, there's this guy, this creeper, he's going from door to door, he's looking in the cars, everybody ready? All right, everybody go outside, grab your water hose. Somebody, are you watching? Everybody on every house in the front yard watering their yard. This guy's gonna freak out, and he's gonna leave the area. He's gonna say, "This is ridiculous. I'm never coming back here again. These guys are gonna cook me." Right? And it's just an idea. It's just to get you to think outside the box. Just be creative. Come up with a system. Come up with something that gets you involved. Nobody's asking you to put your life in danger. Nobody's asking you to stop someone, detain them, or start photographing. I have some community members that like to engage suspects, and they'll go up to them, and it's scary. And I'm not saying that's okay, but if it works for you, more power to you, but we're not all built that way, okay? Take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbor, but be smart about it, okay? Don't get hurt in the process of it. You don't have to come out with your cell phone and, I'm recording you, I know what you're doing here, okay? Our burglaries are up, and I know what you're doing here. That's not necessary, folks. You don't have to do that. You're gonna freak the guy out. He's gonna run off, and he's probably never gonna come back. But it may not work for you. What if he turns around and punches you in the face? Punches you in the face. That can happen. We've taken reports like that, where it was just a simple trespass that turned into an altercation, and the person, all they had to do was call us to tell us, hey, I have someone in my neighbor's backyard, and it looks like he's a burglar. This is the description. Please send the police. Here, done. Make sense? Yes? Yeah. Great. Okay. One thing that we're doing. The question was brought up. What is the police doing when it comes to reduction in crime? Recently, we identified our repeat offenders for violent crimes in our jurisdiction. And what we did was, they had the senior leads go out to their residents and knock on their door. How you doing, sir? Officer Rodriguez, Los Angeles Police Department. The reason why I'm here is because you have been identified as a repeat offender in our city. How's that sound? Does that put them on notice? Hey, we know who you are. We know what you're doing in our city. Knock it off. Okay? Is it going to help? I don't know. We haven't done the statistics yet. It just recently happened. We just did this last week. 3 weeks ago. Okay? But letters went out. In person, we door knocked. Each individual, each criminal, repeat offender, within our jurisdiction. And we let them know, hey, we know who you are. We know where you live. We know what you're doing. Knock it off. It was a little more professional than that.
They've been arrested.
I'm sorry?
If they're repeat offenders, why haven't they been arrested?
Because they have to commit another crime.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, it's just to let them know. This is just a preventative tool
Okay.
to deter them from... It plants the seed of doubt, if you will. Hey, we know where you live. We know who you are. We know your criminal history, your background. Knock it off. If you're going to do something, go somewhere else. Right? Kind of puts them on notice. So that's one thing we've done. Another thing we do is something called predictive policing. And what we do is we take the stats that Kari kind of talked about, and we look at where the crime occurred. And we determine that based on those statistics, crime will most likely occur within a certain distance from that area. So we tend to focus our resources in that area. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. But that's another step that we've taken, that we've been doing for quite some time, and we have seen a decrease in certain areas when it does work. Obviously, we do task forces. That's another thing we do to deter. High visibility is very important for us, obviously. So whenever, I think Liz Carlin mentioned it, extra patrol. If you've ever heard of that term, when you call the police department, you tell us why you're requesting extra patrol. What's the reason for it? I'm going to be out of town, or my house is going to be fumigated. Is there a chance that officers on their downtime can pay close attention to my residents? I'll get calls from my community members in my basic car area. Hey, Officer Rodriguez, I'm going to be out of town for 2 weeks. Do you think maybe you can drive around my block and pay attention to my house? Sure, of course. Why not? On my downtime, I'll do that. Yes, in the back.
So you talked about, we know the statistics
Yes.
of what's been going on
Yes.
in our neighborhood.
Yes.
What's been done?
What's been done to your specific community?
Yeah.
Okay. As I mentioned, some of those examples, that's what we've been doing. Predictive policing, the letters that have gone out, giving notification to the criminals, the career criminals that are living within your community, to let them know that we're aware of their activity. We also do extra patrol, as I mentioned, for certain areas where there is that specific type of crime occurring.
Okay. So because I thought you were kind of like giving hypotheticals on
No.
happened, and I just want to know.
Not hypothetical. That is what we're doing. That is what we're doing. Yes.
So now, are you doing extra patrol around our area since all these crimes have been going on?
That depends on you. If you have an issue on your block with burglaries, car break-ins, you need to call your senior lead officer. Okay? You need to call your senior lead officer and let him know this is what's been going on in the area. What can you do? Because if you're in my basic car area, if you call me to tell me, Officer Rodriguez, you've seen the stats. Yes, I have. What are you doing about it? Okay, well, on my downtime, I am paying close attention to your block. I am driving through there. I am stopping the people that I see who are walking around aimlessly with their cell phones and a backpack. Or when you call me and tell me there's a suspicious person knocking at my neighbor's door and they're out of town, if I'm available, I'm going to respond. I'm hoping that if you're not calling dispatch, you're calling your neighbors and being proactive and engaging everyone and letting folks know, putting everybody on notice, hey, this is what's going on, there's a person over here, does anybody know this person, does anybody know if they're out of town or not? Not everyone's going to know if your neighbor's out of town, right? How many of you know your neighbors? 2 houses down, 3 houses down, 4 houses down, 6 houses down. Okay, so hands start to go down a little bit. But that's what's important about being a community, right? Knowing your neighbors. So that way, when Joe's out of town, and Joe has 2 kids, did Joe take his kids with him? Because I would hate to prone Joe's kids. Point a gun at them because you called and said, there's these 2 suspicious individuals, and there's Joe's kids. So know your neighbors, right? That's important. Right. Right? That would be horrible. Yes?
Officer, we know our officer is Barry Jones.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen him in months. Every time, I go to a meeting in the neighborhood, it's always you.
It's always me?
Yes. Yay, yes.
Stop it.
We haven't seen our Barry Jones in months, or I would say over a year.
Well, I can't speak on his behalf. I do apologize for that. I cannot make excuses. I'm not Perry Jones.
But
Everybody knows
my
that, right?
question is, do we have one?
You do have a senior lead. His name is Perry Jones.
Yeah.
I have a picture of him. He's not a myth. He's not a mythical creature. He does exist. But he will actually come to your residence if you have been a victim of a burglary. Or if you haven't been a victim of a burglary and you're having doubts about your security level in your home, if you want to harden your target and you want to meet with your senior lead officer, if you want to call me and your senior lead officer is not available, I will come out to your house. And I will do a walkthrough through your residence and point out the weak points and tell you what you need to work on. Okay, that's what we do. That's part of our responsibility as senior lead officers, to harden the target, to make you feel more comfortable in your own home. Okay, Kari mentioned an incident, the home invasion at Kennison. That was actually in my basic car area, the 800 block of Kennison. And the victim was a 70-year-old woman, and God bless her. This woman is amazing. What she experienced, it was ridiculous. These guys are cowards. They're cowards. To attack a 70-year-old woman, to attack anyone for that matter, in their own home. Okay, that is ridiculous. This woman was falling asleep in her own home, in her bedroom. She has done everything she needs to do to secure her home, to harden her target. She has an alarm system. She has surveillance. She's got everything she needs in her home. Unfortunately, her husband was in the guest house, and he was doing some work in the back, and she didn't turn the alarm on because she was trying to wait till he got in. And unfortunately, she fell asleep waiting for him, and he fell asleep in the guest house. And the suspects door knocked in the front. There was no answer because everyone was asleep. He came through the rear, broke one of the glass panes in the rear door, unlocked the door, got inside, started strangling her, demanding property, jewelry, money. They beat her. They pistol whipped her. And before they fled, they put a pillow over her head. They told her they were going to put a pillow over her head so they can kill her, so they can shoot her and kill her. And this woman, I think she's amazing. She's a superwoman. She looked at them in the face and said, you know what? I want to look at you when you pull that trigger.
Oh, jeez.
That takes,
Yeah.
okay, that's heroic. That takes a lot, folks, for her to actually stand there and look at him in the face and say, go ahead, but don't put the pillow over my head. I want to look at you now. They put the pillow over her head anyways, but it was just to distract her so they could flee. Why do I bring that up? Why do I bring that up?
Was that person arrested?
They haven't been caught. No. No, they were wearing ski masks. They were all
How
gloved
many?
up. It's
How many?
3 of them.
They were armed.
They were armed. Yes. Okay. Why do I bring that up? It's not to scare you, folks. It's not to instill any type. I mean, it does. Of course, it does. But at any given time, any of us can be victims of crime. That's why I stood here and I told you. The first thing I said was, I've been a victim of crime multiple times. Because I'm not excluded from being a victim of a crime. Nobody is. What's important about that story is I want you guys to realize, you don't stop living. This woman has been burglarized. That was her 3rd time. The last one was a home invasion. Okay? So, do you stop living? Do you live in fear now? Do you stop living because something like that has happened to you? Or do you continue to live your life as best as you can and enjoy life? Right? It's your personal property that was taken, that's your life. So take advantage of that moment and live your life. Continue to love your family, love your kids, your grandkids, take your trips, go travel around the world. But don't stop living because one weasel, one coward, or 3 cowards came and invaded your home and took your personal property. You can't stop living because of that. You got to continue to live your life. Yes?
Officer, what if you put a camera on every corner like they have in London? I mean, would that, alleviate our bling, whatever it is?
You know how many attorneys?
But I don't want to live in a surveilled, environment.
Because
but
some people feel
that's the next logical step that's going to happen.
So thank you for bringing that up. My next thing that I want to mention to you folks is one question that was brought up was, what are we doing? Let's see, where was the question? Let's see. Is there any effort to determine who these criminals are and why they're targeting Miracle Mile? Okay, first of all, they're not just targeting Miracle Mile. Let me be clear about that, guys. My basic car gets hit with burglaries, home invasions. I just gave you an example of a home invasion, a very violent one, in my basic car area. Okay, imagine how that lady feels like her home has been targeted 3 times. Okay, so it's within the city of LA that crime is up everywhere. It's not just a Miracle Mile. Okay, obviously you care about what's happening in your community. That's important, right? So what the police department is doing, we have a gang unit. We have a parole compliance unit. We have specialized units that go out there, and when we have video surveillance of suspects, if they don't have a ski mask, they can be identified sometimes by some of our gang units. Because some of our gang officers are out there daily talking to these criminals, to these gang members. Yes, sir.
What is being done to allow the city to hire more civilians, like they did years ago, to take over some of the duties to allow more police to be out in patrol? Is there anything that's blocking the hiring of more civilians?
I think he has an answer.
I was going to ask you, what about cameras on every corner? I mean, how do you guys
I have the answer to what he was asking.
I didn't feel like I got an answer to my question. Like, why are there cameras on every corner?
Because you're going to have challenges. You're going to have a lot of challenges when you do that.
I see.
So what I always tell folks is if you want to do something like that at your residence, get together as a community. Put surveillance cameras in front of your house, in every house, and put a sign. When you enter this community, the Miracle Mile community, you are being watched by every resident with a camera, surveillance camera.
Is that the same as the camera?
Do you think that would deter people from committing crime in your area? It might. No, criminals do not want to be caught on camera. Criminals do not want to be seen.
what can we do to help? I know you're not going to get more officers, not in the immediate future.
Right.
What can be done? What can the community do to help support the council member and up to get more civilians into the LAPD so they can handle the paperwork so that you're out on patrol? It's my understanding that you could use that help. If I'm wrong, I want to know, but if I'm right, then I want to know what we can do as a community.
Need paperwork people?
I'm sorry?
Need paperwork people to come there with the paperwork?
We have folks that work in our police department, and I'm not going to single them out right here, but there's some of you that are in here to do work with us and help us.
Can we do more? What?
And then the more the merrier. I mean, you can always go and sign up and be a reserve.
So you have to become a reserve officer.
You don't have to become a reserve.
Okay.
You can do what some of them do. You can work inside the office with us. Yes.
Who does Captain Odo call when he finds out past year he's got a 17% spike in crime in his area? Who does he call? How does he get more help?
He calls his bureau chief. And then his bureau chief will contact his boss, which is Chief Patrick.
So our bureau chief is the lady, right? What's her name?
No, not anymore.
Oh, not at all.
No, she's gone. She promoted. Someday she will be our chief. I think. She's cool. She's pretty awesome. I like it. Yes.
What are your thoughts about if you look at condominiums, which I'm representing a condominium association, so we have a gated condo, but we have an underground, we pull in to an electronic parking garage, the gate goes up and the gate goes down. Are we at risk of
Yes.
doing that? Okay.
Yes,
Right.
you are. 100%. You are at risk. Here's what happens. A lot of my car break-ins happen with those type of structures.
Yeah.
And what's happening is that folks, by human nature, we're tired. I do it too. Sometimes my head goes down instead of up. And you need to be aware of your surroundings.
Oh, I am.
You need to pull into your driveway and keep your head on a swivel. Be aware of your surroundings. Because if you see someone sneak into your gated area, then you can call the police right away. Don't get out of your car, stay in your car and call. Because if you get out of your car, now you're going to be confronted with this individual, right? So why risk it? Stay in your car, call the police. I just saw someone that ran inside my gated area, my gated structure, parking structure. Please send the police right away. We've been victims of burglaries. We've been victims of robberies. We've been name every crime that we've been a victim of in that structure to get the police there as quickly as possible. My senior lead officer told me to call the police right away when we see this activity. Yes.
Officer, we have, I live in a small apartment house that used to be like a family house, now it's divided. Our landlord put on every corner camera. And you said, she did it recently, and you said that we will have more challenges. I don't understand that, what kind of challenges we would have. She put the camera on every corner.
Yes.
And then she put the sign that the house is watched. But for example, I live not reachable, the lowest level, and under my bedroom window is her ladder, like so how much protected I might be with those cameras with the ladder under my bedroom.
I think you asked two questions. One was the challenges that we face as a city if we put cameras, right?
Yeah.
Lawsuits. We're going to have attorneys from everywhere trying to sue the city.
Okay.
Right. ACLU, you name it.
Okay, but she
You're violating people's
she
rights.
says that nobody can see only she on her computer. Okay, nobody else will know.
Right. So that's why I said as a community, you can empower yourselves, you can be proactive and go out there and purchase these cameras yourselves and put them on every house. And put a sign in front of your Miracle Mile, welcome to Miracle Mile. By the way, we have surveillance cameras. You are being watched. However you want to describe it.
And then the ladder under, if I don't feel safe even having those cameras there, having the ladder there. And
I'll tell you, cameras are important, okay? And cameras are important because, I'll give you an example. I have a gentleman who's a property owner in my basic car area. And I'm sorry I keep referencing my basic car area. It's because that's where I work. It's what I'm responsible for. So, I have a gentleman. He's a property owner. He has an apartment complex that has surveillance cameras. He was getting complaints from tenants about the activity, the illegal activity there, the drug activity, the car break-ins. Guess who was doing the car break-ins? Guess who was doing the narcotics? Some of the tenants' kids, who are knucklehead gangsters. Sorry, that's how I call them, knucklehead gangsters. But that's who was doing it. What happened? It kind of started slowing down. But when it started slowing down, they realized business was slow, so they needed to do something. What did they do? They started breaking the surveillance cameras. And they were seeing on camera, I have a case right now, where I took the report for the gentleman. One of the gang members, who was a tenant, the son of one of the tenants there, was seen on camera going up to the camera and knocking it down. Vandalism, right? It's a crime. It's about $1,000 system. So, there's a case pending. So, cameras do work. It's important. It's important to have cameras. I think Kari tell me there's one more question or two. One? Two more. Two more. Yes, ma'am. Because I haven't seen you talk.
Hi, Officer
Hello.
Rodriguez. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm Jessica. I live over on Burnside.
Hi.
I know everybody in the room. But, I live here with my husband and my 1-year-old son. I am so afraid. I'm even more afraid now after hearing about all the crime statistics that were presented and the various stories that have been presented tonight. And I know how convenient it is to just grasp onto things when you're afraid. It's easy to say the crime is because of state assembly bills that were passed. The crime is because of people that are different than me. The crime is because of development, or it's going to get worse. Whether those things are based in fact or not. It's easy to say, I'm going to prevent the crime by arming myself. I'm going to prevent the crime by buying more cameras. But what strikes me about that is when we do those things, and I get it, it's so convenient, it's so easy to do that, but it's masking the greater problem, which is a fundamental failure of this city's government when people don't feel safe walking on the streets. We are discussing that because that's the problem. We have representatives from the council member's office here. Where is Member Ryu if safety is such a priority? Where is he? I'm afraid. I live in his district and I'm afraid.
So Councilmember really wanted to be here tonight. He had a prior meeting that was scheduled prior to this one. But he's available if you want to come and meet with him personally. Every Thursday he's going to be off his
I mean, we'll drop this place. It's a black hole.
So I'm happy to talk to you afterwards.
Yeah, so thank you for that comment. I understand where you're coming from as a victim myself of crimes. What I did myself was what we're talking about. I did get more surveillance cameras. I did go out, I filed a police report, I started door knocking at every neighbor's house to tell them what had happened to me so that I can empower them with that knowledge. So that way you can make sure that now your neighbors are watching your house and watching their neighbor's house and making sure that if something does happen again, hopefully it can be stopped before it gets to that level. That's why you're all here, to find a solution to this problem, to create solutions.
That doesn't get you more resources. That doesn't fix the issue with 911. That doesn't fix the fundamental issues with the system. Those are all great band-aids to help deal with the system which we have. When I think everybody...
Does a band-aid stop bleeding sometimes?
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't?
No, a band-aid doesn't.
You never had a scab, bleed, and you put a band-aid and it stops the
This
bleeding?
isn't a scab, we're hemorrhaging.
Okay.
Well,
And so
that's your opinion, and you're entitled to that opinion.
I'm absolutely entitled to
Absolutely.
opinions as a community.
But you're not the only one here with those complaints. Everyone's here to deal with that.
Right.
So there are other issues. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. You're right. There are other issues.
Absolutely, this is your time. And this is not directed to you. This is really directed to the folks that have power and control over how resources
Right.
are allocated.
I know. I'm just...
totally take the point that that's not you.
Right.
Really.
There's only so much I can do. You're right. My hands are tied when certain propositions are in place and I'm making an arrest on a burglary suspect that's only going to get 2 days in jail and he's going to be out 2 days later. Absolutely. That pisses me off. That would piss you off because you are the resident in your community where that's happening and you have every right. Every one of you has a right to be upset about that. But you have to take action. You have to do something about it. You can't just sit down and complain and whine. You have to do something about it. Be proactive. Get involved with your community. Get involved with your government. Do something about it instead of just whining about it. Because if you just sit here and whine about it, what's being done to change that? Okay? Do something. Don't just sit here and whine. Stand up, take action, be a block captain, get involved. Get involved, make a change. And you will see a change.
I would love to add to that. I'm a block captain for the 900 block of Cloverdale. I just want to let you know, we were broken into 9 years ago, right after I lost my daughter. We were not paying attention. We were broken. And they broke in on a soft spot in the back. It's the only soft spot. And I was like, that is not going to happen again. I met every one of my neighbors on my block, and then some in the block north of us. We all know each other. We know kids, animals, pets, cousins, family members who visit. We know the cars, license plate numbers. We have cell phone numbers, home phone numbers, work numbers. We know everybody. When they go out of town, we take their garbage in and out. We watch their cats. We know what day and time they come in, and we are friends. We know each other. We put cameras on. If I see somebody that I don't know on my block, I drive by and I take a photograph of them and I go like this. I see you.
See, that's your neighbor. That's someone that does that.
I don't know you. You're not welcome here on this block. And so we send it to all of our neighbors. I saw this guy on our block. Just wanted to let you know. And our crime went down. It's been a decade and we had a break-in. You know what? My camera doesn't face north. And we missed the guy, but I heard it. I walked out in front of the house. I was talking to my other neighbor. We were watching the house. The guy was inside, but we were there. We were present as neighbors. That's what needs to happen.
And then think about this, what she
Just
said.
letting you know, the crime had gone down. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Thank you for that.
No, we are together as a block on our block. This is what we need to do.
I just want to elaborate.
Yes, ma'am.
That is exactly what I was going to say before she did. My husband and I, we grew up here. I even went to this community center growing up. It was my daycare. I went to Fairfax High School. I went to John Grove High School. I still
Thank you for staying in your community. That's
I
important.
still live in the neighborhood. We still live in the neighborhood. I think we knew everybody from Fairfax to La Brea growing up. We used to ride our bikes. We knew the older people knew us. They knew our name. If we weren't at home at a certain time, they would call our parents. I think we need to get back to that.
Right.
We need to get back and know everybody's kids and know everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
And say hi and help people. I think we need to get back to being more.
I think people are too busy trying to get numbers on Instagram. Followers.
I lived in New York for 10 years and knew everybody on my block. And this was from 2000 to 2009.
Right.
I recently moved back. But I knew everybody on my block. Now I'm advocating to do the same thing on our block because we have a lot of new people in the neighborhood. So I just think we all need to know one another.
Yes.
Phone numbers,
Very true.
email, chat.
There was so many other things I had, obviously, to talk about, and I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to touch on everything, but I am running out of time. Carter's kicking me out.
Thank you very much.
But number down, not my personal, my city phone, and my email. My phone number is 213.
Stand by.
It is on the LAPD website as well, yes. My phone number is 213-793-0715. And the reason why I'm giving you my number is in case you can't get a hold of Perry Jones. That's not a joke, I'm being serious. Just, you can always, if he doesn't respond, call me and I will come out and help you folks
Do you
out.
have Perry's number on you? Do you have Perry's number?
I do.
I will get the numbers to you. We're running out of time, so I will
Okay.
get the numbers to
And
you.
my email is 35738@LAPDonline.
What?
That's the new website. 35738@LAPDonline. .online or something.
LAPD.
35738@LAPD.online.
So you want Perry Jones's number?
Okay, thank you, folks. Oh, one other thing, I did bring some eye watch.
Good.
You guys aren't familiar with this,
Yeah.
very important that you familiarize yourself with this. It's a number, 1-877-8 threat. Because of what happened in Vegas, we are pushing this pamphlet, this brochure. Please, if you see something, say something. If it doesn't look right and it doesn't feel right, suspicious activity, anything, take a look at this, get a chance to review it. It's very simple. It's just one sheet. Take a look at it. You're going to save someone's life one day. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Officer Rodriguez. I appreciate your time. And I appreciate the concern all of you have. We have a few more things this evening. I don't want anybody to leave because really the most important part is coming up. And I do understand that there are many reasons that crime is occurring. Tonight we cannot identify and deal with all those issues. You have a very good point. Unfortunately, this evening we are here to address solutions that we can enact upon immediately. You have a very good point. Can you tell me your name? Yes. What block do you live on?
I'm in the 1100 block of Burnside.
I am so excited that you can help be a block captain. That would be fantastic. I need people like you. A couple of quick things before Seth Reed, who is a resident of Miracle Mile, comes up and talks to us about patrol and how it works and how it's worked for him in his block. But I want to touch upon something really quickly that I think Senior Lead Officer Rodriguez will agree upon with me, and that is that you can utilize your Senior Lead Officer, Perry Jones. He is present and available. It's how you utilize him. You need to get organized, and when your block is organized and when you've identified there are a group of 7 teenagers smoking marijuana right in front of you on private property, you will call him, email him, and you will do so daily until he responds to you. Okay? So do not make it one pass. Had I done that, we wouldn't be here tonight because what I had to do was I had to go down and sit for an hour and wait before I could file a report on a man that spent 17 minutes on my property 2 feet from my child's head. I also left a note for LAPD because it was a little challenging to get another neighbor to file a report for the theft out of her vehicle from the same guy. So I left them a little love letter, if you will, and I said, please, LAPD front desk officers, make sure that you take all reports and encourage them to do so. The system may not always work the way you want it, but don't stop there. Keep calling and make it work for you and your neighbors. We're all responsible for each other. We cannot sit and complain anymore, but you all have good points. But tonight you can do something. You can get involved and you can find out who your block captain is. I want block captains for all 51 blocks by our MMRA meeting in January. Right, January? And after that, we're going to talk more. And this isn't the first time we're meeting. And I hope that you are not sad you missed Monday Night Football. I never watch football, so I'm happy to be there. But this is what we're doing. I want to touch on a couple quick things because we actually need to close up shortly. However, get lights, get cameras, get everything. You need high-def cameras. Had I not had a high-def camera, my image and my mother-in-law's image would have not been sent to LAPD immediately. That image went from Santa Monica to downtown and elsewhere. I think my mother or a few other people got it too. And they caught the guy. They caught the guy because I pushed to get it recorded. I pushed. I said, I'm not leaving until I speak to Detective Alves or Golan. I now am friends with them. And they know about me, and they know about us, and they know about you, because we need to turn this around. That image was from a high-def camera. I now have lights. I don't know the electrical bill. I'll find out next month. It is lit up like Disneyland Main Street Parade. Don't mess with me. Don't come on my property. I don't have a gun. I have a teenager, so watch out. I have alarms, I have high-def cameras, I have a Ring doorbell, I have Ring motion sensors, I have patrol. My children call, if I'm not coming home, if I'm not home to watch them, my daughter will call patrol and get an escort home. That is what you can do when you live in a parking lot underground, you want to get up to your condo. That is what you can do when you're on Burnside, Ogden, Meadowbrook. You will utilize your patrol. You will pay the monthly fee, and you will not come back to me and say, I don't see them on my street. They are around and they are responding and they are part of the solution. And so are you. Really quickly, I just wanted to note that Councilman Court's representative, and I'm going to mess up your name, Greg Martillon.
That was pretty good.
Thank you. He is here this evening, and we don't have time for you to answer questions, but I want you to know that he is represented here tonight, and I appreciate you coming. Thank you very much. The word got out about the party, huh? And another thing would be, he's waited all night. Seth Reed, please come up and talk to us about patrol and your experiences, and please introduce ACS Eno.
Eno.
Thank you.
So I've lived in Miracle Mile for 19 years, and I would say most of the time I've been a rather passive resident. I haven't been heavily involved. We've recently become very active on our street. We have a very good group email, is the best I can say. And if you participate, you really participate, and that's what has happened. We've had a number of neighbors have break-ins, and I'm not going to get into the specifics because we've had enough horrible stories already. But I think everybody on our street has become very proactive, and that actually extends to earthquake preparedness. It extends to like who's walking their dog and what they're seeing. I mean, everybody's on point now. So I can only emphasize what other people have said, which is the only way you're going to take back your neighborhood is not by depending on your government and complaining about why the police aren't around. You have to do something. You have to get out, you have to walk your street, you have to get to know your neighbors. So in our case, we started looking for a security patrol because we knew that as effective as the LAPD is, their times to show up are going to be a little longer, but they may not show up for some things at all that you consider important. You may want to call and say, I need an escort. My daughter's coming home and she's getting dropped off and I want someone to meet her at the front door. Or you might feel that there's somebody suspicious walking around. It's not enough to call Officer Rodriguez, but on the other hand, you could have a patrol there and they can be by in 10 minutes or whatever, and they're keeping an eye on what's going on. I would emphasize that, because we've had this issue come up on our street, the patrol is armed, but they're not there to shoot somebody or do anything crazy. They're there to call Officer Rodriguez and the LAPD. They're there to isolate the issue and to act as an intermediary to help you feel protected and to look over your property and to see what's going on. So we, on our street, we have 38 residents, I think, on our street, and we've got 27 houses that have signed up, if I'm not mistaken. So our goal, and I'm not trying to be a salesman right now, but my dream is to have the patrol based with a truck or a vehicle in our neighborhood full-time. And that takes 300 residents out of 1,700 to do that. The outlines of the area that we're talking about are the same outlines as the MMRA. So basically what I'm trying to say is we've already got 10% of that right now, just on my street.
What street are you on?
Maslin Avenue. We have a fabulous, like I say, group email. Everybody's talking to each other all the time. I also got out and walked my whole street, so I raised my hand when Officer Rodriguez asked if you know all your neighbors, even 6 of them away. I know John and Ken are here. I know maybe some of our other neighbors are here as well. The point is to I see Dina over there. So the point is to get to know your neighbors. The point is to get out and walk around and get organized. And I can only support what Kari is saying. We need the block captains to do that. So we have ACS. I guess I'm allowed to mention ACS. And this is Eno Hill right here. We researched ACS. The reason that they're here is because we checked them out. We spent a lot of time and many number of meetings in different residents' homes trying to judge whether we should hire them and try to get them into our lives. And so far everything's been great. Their patrol is present. And I haven't yet personally needed to call you for anything, but I've heard that you are there, and I can only hope that I don't have to call you unless it's a true emergency. So with that, I'd like to introduce Eno Hill, and he'll say a couple of words. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me come to this meeting, and this is really awesome to see how many people are here. I go to a lot of these, and this is a really great turnout. So it shows me that you guys care, you're looking for a solution. And I'm going to make this really brief. I want to get you guys home to your families. But just a little brief history on ACS. We've been around for over 35 years. We provide dedicated patrol for over 40 associations and neighborhood watches throughout LA. Whenever we enter a neighborhood and we provide 24-hour dedicated patrol, crime drops off the map significantly. It's just statistically true. I was just at the Royal Woods meeting last week, their annual meeting. We've been patrolling for the past 4 years, 24 hours a day. They haven't had one home break-in in the past 6 months. They're in the heart of Encino and Tarzana. It's getting slammed daily. You know, if you look at Beverlywood, we provide 24-hour patrol there for the past 20 years. Virtually, barely any home break-ins ever occur outside of there. There's a lot of activity. So we're excited to be able to provide a solution for you guys because I know personally that it works. And I'm here to help you guys establish these block captains and mirror the efforts that we've done on Massillon because they have so many people that have signed up. We're actually going to be putting 2 by 3 foot signs that say Massillon Ave, Miracle Mile, now protected 24 hours ACS security. So any of these opportunists, any of these gang members, these bad guys, when they're going down Olympic or they're going down 8, they're going to see a big sign that says this is protected, and then they're going to go down Massillon and they're going to see over half the homes have the same yard sign out in front with cameras, with alarms, and a yellow truck driving up and down frequently but randomly 24 hours a day. If I'm an opportunist, I see that going on with ACS, I'm going to choose another block, I'm going to choose another neighborhood. I'm not going to target any of those homes, and that's how it works. If someone wants to break in your home, realistically, they're going to probably get away with it. What we want to do is create a deterrent, and that's what the patrol service is there for. It covers response to your alarm, vacation watch, where we'll pick up your mail, the 24/7 direct assistance that allows you to be proactive. You can reach out to us anytime, and we'll provide the escort service as well. I don't want to go too deep into all of our services. I'm happy to provide my information. I got cards over there. I can give you my number. But what I want to do with Miracle Mile, especially to the end of the year, I want to give you guys my undivided attention because I know I can make this happen for you guys. We've already done it with Massillon to kick it off, and the response has been huge. I know I can do that with every single one of your blocks, but it's going to take that commitment that they have shown to get to know each other, establish that connection with each other, and make this be a proactive result. So, I love that you guys are doing the block captains and making this thing right, because this is exactly how it's done. It's done with meetings like this. It's done with establishing block captains, building a good neighborhood watch, and then from there, you guys get to know each other better. You're more aware of what is suspicious, what isn't, and you parlay that with a patrol service that'll act as a further deterrent and harden your target, like Officer Rodriguez said, with the cameras, alarms, everything else. It will make a difference, guaranteed. So, if you want to reach out, I'm happy to give you my number. It's 310-903-8649. My email. No problem. It's 310-903-8649. If you prefer to reach out to me via email, my email is E-as-in-Edward, HILL@ACSsecurity.com. And I'll pass the mic along to anyone. Unless you have any questions real quick, I'll take a couple if that's all right.
Right.
The patrol service is $50 a month. There's no obligation. You can cancel anytime. We don't want you to cancel anytime. We want to be able to establish a long-term relationship because once we've entered a neighborhood, we've never pulled a vehicle out yet due to competition, lack of support, you name it. So.
What if I'm the only person on my block who signed up for it?
Well, it's better than nobody. We'll be adding you to the patrol beat. It's ideally, I guess where you're trying to lean towards is what about these piggybackers? What about the people that are going to...
Yes, Massillon is probably all single-family homes, if I'm not...
Yeah.
Which stretch? Is it between 8th and Olympic?
If you live in a multifamily complex, we work with a ton of multifamily complexes throughout LA. Up to 5 units, we charge $200 a month for the building, where each tenant would have access to that, and then after 5 units, it's $10 per unit a month. In addition to that, 200, and that number gets pulled into the 300 that we're trying to do. Our mission here is to get 300 homes at $50 a month or $15,000 a month to sustain a 24-hour dedicated patrol exclusive to the boundaries of the MMRA. And you have enough homes to do it. It's in our wheelhouse of what we typically see as far as percentage of homes to participate in a program like this. You guys have the passion and the need. So it's a solution that is attainable. It will only be attainable if you all work together. And I'm here to do my best to help you reach that goal.
For the Miracle Mile size, how many patrols do you have right now?
Right now, the way we have it set up is for every 10 homes that we get on board, we're going to provide you with an additional drive-through at least per day. So right now we have about 30. So we're going to have 3 drive-throughs a day right now. Maybe it doesn't sound like much, but it's a snowball effect. The more people that we have signed up, the more alarms we're responding to, the more vacation watches that we're performing, the more direct assistance calls. The neighbors start seeing the signs, they see the trucks, they say, you know what, I think this is a good thing after all. And you start signing up. Maslin took on, the important task of kind of being the first ones to roll this out. With Maslin's support and dedication, if you guys go through Maslin, you'll see the difference. We're about to get those. We already have the signs made. We're waiting for them to get printed, and then we're going to put them up. And it is a huge deterrent to have those at the entrances and then have those signs. So put your faith in me to get those numbers, but I'm going to have to put my faith in you guys to make this one work.
Which stretch of Maslin are you referring to?
This is the 800 block. Yeah, north of Olympic, south of 80. Yeah. Yes, ma'am?
Yeah, do your patrols drive by at a set time every day, or are you driving by in unpredictable?
Well, even if we wanted to do a set time, we wouldn't be able to due to the nature of the calls that we receive. So no, it's intentionally random, but it's forcibly random too. We wouldn't be able to do that.
I don't have alarms.
Well, we're a one-stop shop, just to let you know, as far as security needs. We do we'll install new alarms, we do cameras, we do those Ring doorbells, we do the Ring floodlights. You reach out to me and I'm happy to provide you, a bid on all that. I have a lot of flexibility in this neighborhood. Some of you guys who have met with me already know. I will give you a very good deal as far as, alarms and everything else. My mission is to maximize your protection at the lowest price that I can offer. So.
Do you offer patrol if you don't have alarm systems?
Oh yeah, I mean, everything is independent. You don't need an alarm to have our patrol. If you have an existing alarm company, you don't need to switch over to our service for us to respond. If you have an ADT or a Protection 1, you would simply call them up and say, I don't want you to, instead of dispatching LAPD, you can't get a hold of me, please dispatch my local neighborhood patrol. But that being said, it does make a lot of sense to consider switching to us because we're the only company in LA that does the alarm monitoring and patrol under one roof. So we can dispatch patrol immediately when we get a signal with our two-way radio. While patrol's on the way, that's when we reach out to the home. You verify your passcode, you say it's a false alarm, no big deal, we call our guy off. If now we have an armed officer on the way, and he's going to be there within 15 or so minutes. The more we get on board, the less that response is going to be, the more frequently you're going to see us, and then the bad guys are going to see us too. And next thing you know, you're not going to have that big of a crime problem as you're having right now. So, but I want to get you guys, okay, one more, and then I want to get you guys out of here.
Hello, camera. Yeah, what can you do that the police cannot do? So let's say, come Tuesday night, Wednesday night, when you have all sorts of garbage scavengers running around Miracle Mile, going into trash cans, going into people's properties and stuff. Are you guys dependent upon a call to you and then you have to call the police, or can you actually apprehend people on your own volition?
Well, our officers are all armed, licensed, and bonded through the federal, state, DOJ. We have the right to detain. LAPD would come by to make the arrest. But our officers have caught a number of people where we were able to detain with handcuffs and have LAPD come to make the arrest. Now, in a scenario where you have a solicitor knocking in the neighborhood, it's not illegal to be a solicitor here in Los Angeles, but if you are knocking on doors with the intention to see if they're home so that you can break into their home and you have an armed officer approaching you saying, what are you doing here on the block, chances are you're not going to stick around and take on that risk anymore. You're going to move out of the area. So if you're up to no good and you got the patrol presence, that's enough of a deterrent to send them out elsewhere. But thank you for your time.
It's how you utilize patrol. It's how you utilize your block captain. It's how you utilize LAPD. There is no one answer. You need to understand that we're not going, all due respect, going after people who are going for trash cans. We are looking for criminals. They will not come when ACS's car, when patrol's around, when people are vigilant. And you don't get involved, but I love it. It was a Portia that said she comes out and she's doing this. Your presence means a lot. When you walk your dog, get involved, get out there and see what's going on. If you live in a condo, I'm sorry, it's not for me to say, but I will tell you something. $50 a month for all those services? Can I pay you more? That's insane. That's insane. And the more we flood the area and the presence is there, I wish I had had patrol in June 23rd when I waited 40 minutes. Close your ears, Officer Rodriguez. 40 minutes for LAPD to come when I stood alone in my mother-in-law's home on live camera watching the burglars leave with my daughter's entire jewelry case and a lot more. It took 40 minutes for that response. A patrol company would have been there a lot sooner. I don't mean to disrespect LAPD, but this is what we're dealing with. And I don't have time to turn 57 on its rear, or 47, or 109. But I do have time to explain to you that we're friends now. And we're going to get a lot closer, and we're going to know each other, and we're going to look out for each other, and you need to get patrol. Raise your hand if you are an MMRA member, because that is my last little thing tonight. All of you need to be members, because I volunteered my time, so does Jim and everybody else. So did Kelly. This is what we want you to do, is to get involved, and it starts with becoming a member, and that's how I can get Officer Perry Jones's information to your email, ASAP. I will take all those back there and make my 15-year-old, who didn't make his bed today, log him into my computer. And I will get you Officer Perry Jones's number and his email, and you better call him. He's going to know that he's very sorry he's in, I don't know where. He deserves a vacation, but he missed this exciting evening. So thank you all very much for coming. Thank you for... There's an open house at LAPD 12 to 4 on October 29th.
You mean Perry Jones there?
We will all be seeing a lot more of Perry Jones. I want to thank our councilmen representatives, Officer Rodriguez, ACS Eno, Seth, Kelly, Jim, and the filmmakers. And I want to thank all of you for getting the message tonight that Miracle Mile is going to be safe and sound with your involvement. Don't hide under the covers and don't be scared. Come out and say hello. Thank you very much for coming tonight.